It looks like we're live.
I feel like it's live. Yeah.
I feel like it's live. Didn't everything just get more exciting?
It did. My heart rate went up a few beats, but that's okay.
Yeah, okay. I see us on the Twitch stream. Okay, awesome. Welcome everyone to the .NET Community Stand-Up. I'm Kendra Havens. We're going to talk about Visual Studio for Mac stuff today with Uni and Cody. Do you guys want to introduce yourselves real quick? Uni, could you start?
Absolutely. I'm the Group Program Manager for Visual Studio for Mac, and I'm super excited to be on this stand-up today to talk about what we're doing. And Cody?
Yeah, I'm Cody Byer. I'm the Program Manager on the Visual Studio for Mac editor team. So I'm really excited to show off some of the new editor stuff that we've done. It's pretty exciting, and I don't want to have a long introduction because that delays the amazing presentation. So
we're not too short on time. Like we can talk about this stuff. And it should be a conversation. Okay, so really quick before we dive in, I just wanted to talk about community news. Currently, our MVP summit is happening, so we flew in like 2,000 of our best friends to hang out and give talks, and they're looking at, they were actually also interested in Visual Studio for Mac updates, so I might just send them this link after we're done streaming. So we're really excited to have everybody in. You guys have probably seen Twitter excitement or pictures and stuff. It's just a great interaction with most valuable professionals and the Microsoft product teams.
I mean, if it weren't for the party last night, I'm sure some would have been here as well, you know?
Yeah,
so.
Did you go?
I actually did not. But I saw a lot of cool pictures coming out of it. You know,
that's great. Yeah, I feel like the invites came out so late. I don't know. Anyway, okay, so the other thing I just wanted to talk about was, my HDMI? Yeah, okay. Was the Visual Studio launch event. So Visual Studio is launching in less than 2 weeks, so April 2nd, 9 a.m. We tweeted the schedule and what we're going to talk about. Yours truly will be on at 10:30, hopefully, unless, you know, as with all live streams, our timing gets off and people answer lots of questions beforehand, and I don't know, anyway, should be fun. Rajan also blogged about it, just talking a bit more on, what we're going to talk about in this launch event. There's actually a ton of local launch events, and you can check those out on our main launch website, which is pretty exciting. So you can join with people to watch, which is always more fun, when hopefully it's more fun to laugh with your friends at jokes that we try to crack awkwardly. Okay, no pressure. Cool, so Cody, those are all the news that I had. Would you like to share your screen and we can start talking about Visual Studio for Mac stuff?
yeah, let's do it. Let me share my screen here. All right, you guys should be able to see the screen now. Checking over on, yeah, sweet. So Visual Studio for Mac 2019. This is the next version of Visual Studio for Mac we have coming out. It has a bunch of new updates. The first thing you'll notice is the Get to Code window. So the idea here is that in the past you had the full IDE that would launch, but now we want to make sure that the focal point is your code. So this Get to Code screen offers open and new, and then a list of your projects. You can also filter your projects, which is pretty awesome if you, like me, and have a ton of projects. Not really on this screen, but let's pretend I do. All right, so what I'm going to
checking to make sure that we have a filter project available in the Visual Studio for Windows installer launcher. Do we have that? We have filters
I mean,
for recents?
I think we do, because we try to mimic the experience to be as close as possible.
Yeah.
But of course, a little bit more native for the Mac. Yeah.
I guess I've just never used it. Thank you for pointing it out.
No, it's great.
I don't think we have one. I just launched it. I'm going to switch to my screen really quickly.
Let's do it, yeah. Are you on the
That's
2019
awesome. Yeah, this is the RC.
Well, but to be fair, though, it's likely that you're focusing on
the
top 2 projects on that list, and
maybe open a project. If you go back to your screen.
Okay.
Pop back to your screen for a second.
Yeah.
And let's go to open project. No, not that one. I'm sorry.
Oh, sorry.
If you on the launch screen, I think there's a section that has open project.
Okay.
I'm trying to watch a very small screen here. Let me see.
Sorry.
No, it's okay.
Yeah.
So if you do open a project or solution.
Ah.
That's going to bring
Does that give you one?
No, that's the File Explorer.
And I guess you can search that, but it's not quite as smooth as what you guys got going on in VS
But then,
Mac.
on the other hand, we don't really have hooked up the source control experiences just yet.
Right.
That's coming in the next update as well. So
that'd be great.
It's just fun to explore. I like pointing out if there's some niceties in VS for Mac that is UI we should probably think about. It's cool.
Yeah, no, it's good. Back and forth, side-by-side comparisons.
Yeah.
All right, so the main thing I want to talk about today, and there's a bunch of things I want to talk about. The main thing is the editor. So you may have heard some tweets, or you don't hear tweets. You may have read some tweets or heard some talks about the new editor in VS for Mac, and it's really a whole new experience for editing code. So we listen to our community constantly, and we hear a ton of feedback on what's going well and what's not going well, and we always want to integrate that into our product. And one of the things that we consistently heard was that the editor is just not how it should be. It's kind of slow. It doesn't have a consistent look and feel. It can sometimes have typing delays. So you'll type a key on your keyboard, and it'll take a split second to actually display on the screen, and that can mess up your vibe. Yeah. So this right now, what we're showing right now is the traditional editor. And to kind of give you some history on what the traditional editor is, it's actually based on a Linux technology called GTK, which is a UI technology for Linux. We were able to take that and port it to Mac, but it's not a Mac UI. So, for example, if you hover over, you get this tooltip. It's yellow, which is a nice color, but it's not what you would expect native Mac. If you go to like text edit, it's a different experience than what you'd expect.
Usually it's like a different, like a faded gray, background in the context menu, yeah.
Like if you open up text edit and, see we have like these kind of nice, so that's the autocomplete. There's no tooltips here, but it gives you a more, native experience. For example, you hit E, you get the accented character, so you can add accented E's and whatnot. So that's the native text input for Mac OS. Here we don't have that. I hit E here, and it just gives me a bunch of E's, which is, if you need to say E, it's fine, but you don't need to say that. So, so
you
we
never
can delete
know
that.
In your comment section what
exactly,
you're gonna get.
Like yay or something like that. Yeah.
No.
Awesome. All right. So we decided let's make a new editor, but we didn't want to start from scratch because we are Microsoft and we have an amazing editor at our fingertips, and that's the Visual Studio on Windows editor. Yeah, I know it's a great editor. It's I think it was redone pretty recently. I mean, in the grand scheme of things, but it's has constantly been a strong point of the IDE. People are familiar with it. It is fast and performant. So we thought, okay, we got this amazing editor, and how can we take that and put that on VS for Mac? And it sounds, crazy, like, oh, what are you talking about, Cody? It's, it's WPF and it's on, and you're on Mac. You can't do that. Well, we can, and we did. So what we were able to do is take the core of the editor, so all the logic and all of the layout rules and whatnot. We took that.
Roslyn goodness, as
yes,
I like
the Roslyn
to
goodness. Yes, exactly. So we took the Roslyn goodness and we brought it over to Mac. We did an abstraction layer, and then we put Cocoa on top of it. Cocoa is the Mac UI language. So, things like the pop-up I showed in text edit, that's a Cocoa element. So it's analogous to WPF on the Windows side. So we took the core, added an abstraction layer, put Cocoa on top of it, and we have a brand new editor. So it is literally the VS for Mac or VS for Windows editor on Mac. It also shows how great and portable .NET is. We copied it over, and it works. One anecdote, since to kind of show how this is we were thinking a few weeks ago about adding event handling, which is a surprisingly complex problem to solve. To when you create an event and you want to add an event handler, that's relatively complex. So we were kind of thinking about the best way to implement that. And one of our developers, Kirill, he's an amazing guy. He did this. He did a lot of work for this. What he did, and this gets kind of technical, so I'm sorry if it kind of goes on. But he copied and pasted.
That's why we're here.
Yeah,
also,
exactly.
Kirill's name, I feel like I've seen it on email a lot. This guy's probably legend. Okay.
Yeah, he's great. Yeah, he has some really good insights on Twitter as well. So what he did, and this is again, he went to the source code for Visual Studio. He copied the code for event handling. He pasted it over to VS for Mac, and then he was done. That's all he had to do.
Perfect.
I know. So we have this shared core now. We can take these features over, and we were all kind of like, we knew that this was going to be an opportunity to have some of this, sharing. We didn't know it was going to be that easy, so we were kind of surprised by it. So
Wow.
I know, it's great. So how do you get into the new editor? Well, if you download the preview version, which preview 3 is the one where the new editor was introduced, and we just released preview 4 yesterday.
Oh, wow.
So if you have, and it has a ton of fixes. It's really great. So if you have preview 4, you go to Visual Studio, Preferences, navigate on down to Text Editor General, and you'll see Open C# files in the new editor. And right now, as this implies, it is only supported for C# files. So files like XAML or JavaScript or F# files. Yes, exactly. Those are coming. We're planning on getting those in as quickly as possible, but we want to make sure the C# experience, which is kind of the core experience that, in the idea is as strong as can be. And then we're going to, quickly iterate on those other files. So if I just click on Open C# files, the new editor, and I hit OK, and it says, okay, you got to close all files. So let's do that. I don't know what changes I made, but let's save them anyway. And let's double click on quickactions.cs, and we are in the new editor. So it looks and feels the same. If I move my screen a little bit, you'll notice that there's this new editor preview button down here. That's how you can tell you're in the new editor. One of the other goals that we had to kind of be a little snarky was to make sure that the new editor looked as similar as possible so that we couldn't tell in screenshots which one it was. So we had to add this button.
Ooh.
Yeah. So this button also allows you to disable the new editor, learn more about the new editor preview, and report a problem, which is a very handy button because we do read that feedback and listen to it. So I don't want there to be any problems, but if there are, then report a problem will help you out there.
We provided a path.
Exactly.
Do all of the problems end up on developer community in the same place? Okay, so it's all in the same place.
Yeah, there's a section developer community dedicated to VS for Mac, and it ends up there. And we've already fixed a few bugs that came in through developer community between preview 3 and 4. So that's great.
That's why we love previews.
Yes.
Cody, don't you think we should thank someone in this room for this code that you're showing us?
Oh yeah, I'm getting there. So Uni knows it. So Kendra, who is our gracious host here, she actually wrote a lot of this code on this Quick Actions preview. So what we're going to do here.
Just the sample code. I don't really need credit for that. It's a demo. It's not real coding.
It is.
It is.
You have to think about how to do all these things. So
yeah. No worries. I'm actually so excited. I'm already seeing differences, slightly faded out UI, and I'm sorry. Continue though.
Yeah, that's great. I did make some changes to your code. I added the Mac symbol, so
Ooh.
Yeah, there you go. That's my big.
Oh, shiny. Okay.
All right, so let's dive into this a little bit. So one of the things I showed in the old editor was the tooltips when you hover over anything. So let's do it here. And here we have a nice native Mac OS tooltip. So we have, the gray box. It's also, I know that people like the dark mode out there. It also is compliant with dark mode UI. And Mac OS kind of provides you with all things you need to do. So basically what we do in the code is we say, draw this box and apply whatever theme the system's using. So it will apply the dark mode theme, and it's directly from macOS. You don't have to, take out one of those eyedropper things and try to match the colors exactly. It's actually what macOS is telling us, which I think is if you're one of those people that notices those little differences, it's noticeable.
By the way, it's worth calling out that some of the UI polish is still remaining to be done.
Yeah.
So that's the final, nail in the coffin,
Dude,
I guess.
Are you going to show us
I don't know
dark
about
theme?
nail. I don't know about nail in the coffin. That's a little.
I would love it.
But yeah, it is. Yes, just the dark theme.
We can switch back to light because I think that does show up better on if people are watching on their phones and stuff. But I just wanted to see dark theme really quick.
So you go to Visual Style.
Okay.
Hit dark, and then hit Restart Visual Studio. And while that's happening, we can look at the beautiful text edit here. While that's happening, so as Uni mentioned, there's this is still a preview, so we still are working on some of the polish items, which I think that as as each of these new previews come out, you can actually really see the progress we've made. And there's still some few UI things we want to tweak to make it, as usable as possible. So we will be, tweaking those over the coming weeks as well. So if you click on the project to open it again, we have this nice dark theme. And look at that, so easy on your eyes.
Yeah.
There we go. See, look at that. And it's got the, now let's just hover over something. And if you notice, people on their phone aren't gonna be able to see this, but if you notice down in the tooltip, there's some of the green behind of the comment below is coming through. And that, is part of the Mac OS default design as well. So it kind of has like a opacity to it.
Yeah.
Or transparency.
Yeah, transparency.
So, yeah.
Oh, that's so cool. I actually can't tell on our screens, but I will try to maybe watch the live stream later and like zoom in.
You have to get really close to your screen, which I don't want to do
like
because
that.
Yeah,
it's okay.
It just gives that nice native feel. So it one of the things that gets me is like this context switching. So if I'm in a Mac app, like doing something blah blah blah, writing some notes in TextEdit or something, and then I go to the IDE, I want it to feel the same, so I don't feel like, oh, I just switched worlds. And that's kind of why we're really focused on making sure that we are using those elements as they are in the Apple HIG, the interface guidelines.
Yeah. I just wanted to call out, you got a compliment, easy, clean, and beautiful Mac on Windows.
Oh, nice.
And comments.
Sweet.
Keep the comments coming, guys. We're totally paying attention and reading them.
Yeah, when I look
if you
at
have any questions.
I have another computer over here that's like watching the comments. So,
yeah.
So if I look to the left or right, it's not because I'm not paying attention. I'm just trying to read there.
I can't display you in the pip right now. It's only like me and Uni in the bottom right corner of the screen. So we see your screen though.
That's okay. You don't need to see me. It's fine.
Okay.
All right. So let's actually get into some of this. One of the things that I'm going to say first off with this new editor is that you have to try it to really get a sense of its performance improvements. We're going through like 2 layers of live streaming right now, so you're not going to like it's going to scroll kind of slowly either way. But let's get through some of these features and kind of show one of the stuff that I'm really interested in. The first I want to do is a feature that honestly, this is one of those ones that we're talking to customers and talking to our users and talking to our community is a huge benefit, because I never would have thought of using word wrap in a code editor. But it is a very popular feature. Like I've had people who have been tweeting and just talking on the phone who said, "Oh man, now that you have word wrap, I can actually use this as my main code editor."
Yeah.
And that blew my mind, but people love it. So I turn on word wrap.
It doesn't actually insert like a new line character in the code. It's just a visual.
Exactly, it's just a visual.
Yeah.
So we have visible glyphs for word wrap if I turn that on, so you can see where we've wrapped. But if I copied this out and pasted it in a different IDE, it should just be single line, because there's no like /n type character there.
So it doesn't change your source code.
Exactly.
We have an extension to do that in the main Visual Studio, but we don't have it like just an option by default that you can turn on.
No,
awesome.
I mean, I get it, but I also I wouldn't have ever thought of it without talking to people. So, if you guys out in the community have any of these ideas, please bring them to us, because, I can only use the IDE how I use it, and I can't always, tell how other people use it. So that's one of the ones that we thought was like super important to get out there, because everybody asks for it. So
we have a question in chat. WQ Walter, he knows how to get out of Git. Sorry, WQ. I don't have a Mac. Can I add a Mac virtual machine to my Azure account to be able to look at some of the Mac tools?
James already gave a great answer.
Oh, yeah. So we don't have Mac virtual machines right now. There's a Mac Stadium and Mac in Cloud that you could use for a remote Mac. Sorry.
There we go.
James, we're monitoring the questions. No, I need you to monitor them too in case we get distracted. Okay.
I don't know. I mean, I don't know if everybody appreciated your VI joke you just made. That was good.
Right? Like, that's the only escape. Okay, yeah.
Yeah.
I was teaching a friend Git the other day, and I was like, if you know WQ, you instantly get like cool jokes that you can actually get out of that editor. Okay.
I always just set my editor to Nano because I don't remember WQ. So I just and Nano's what I used to use.
All the comments are going to go with VI. That's it. That's all we're going to hear now from here on out.
It's going to be VI.
Oh no, what if I started? No, I think Scott Hanselman made a joke in a keynote that says like, okay, now that I can't get out of VI, I'll just shut down my computer and start over. It was good. Okay, one of my fave jokes. Okay.
All right, that was good. So let's look at some of the cool things. So as Kendra alluded to earlier, this does have the Roslyn goodness in it. So one of the great benefits again of the shared code is that we have all the greatest and latest and greatest, depending on which way you want to say it, analyzers and quick fixes that VS Windows has. So and that's kind of the nexus of this code I'm showing, is that this is a project that intends to show all the new quick fixes we have in place for Dev 16 or Visual Studio for Mac 2019. So if we click right here and we go over to our little light bulb here and click on it, we can say wrap every parameter and indent all parameters. So let's do that, and there we go. So I mean that's a good one to keep things in order. We can use expression block body for lambda. So if we click inside right there and we can say block to lambda expression, and there we go. So there's a bunch of these ones, and I'm not going to go through every single one because I want to not go through every single one. But
yeah, there's like 20. It took me like 50 minutes to go through all of them during one of our other streams.
Yeah, there's some cool ones. So so there's a few more I'm going to hit as we go down, but this one is like... I see that
you altered my multi-carat example.
I did, because VS Mac is the best. Yeah, so let's do some multi-carat editing. So this is another one of the things that, I had one community member I was talking to a few months ago. He said that, if we had multi-carat editing, it would, change his life, because he has to copy code into another, editor, do the multi-carat stuff, and then bring it back, and that's just, it's a pain. Nobody wants to do that. So we added multi-carat editing, which is a very powerful feature. So let's go ahead and get started on that. So what you want to do is you place your cursor somewhere within the code where you want to be like the master cursor. So this is the the main cursor. Then you hit Control Option, and you can click where you want to type in other places. And I'm doing this live, so I'm going to mess it up probably. But let's see. Paste in there and say IDE ever. There we go. I was able to edit these 8 lines of code or 9 lines of code all at the same time using multi-cursor editing or multi-carat editing. And this is great for fixing. You can also apply it in different areas. So if I wanted to add a word right here and add it right here and right here and right here, which is weird, but you can do that.
You'd be surprised. Actually, James also asked, how often do people really use multi-line? And when I demoed this when it first came out, let's see, that was 15.8 or 9, I want to say. The room was so excited. There was a big burst of applause. People had really been waiting for it. So I think a lot of people had that. They have to open a separate editor in order to do a quick multi-line edit. So yeah, super happy that that's in default tools. I wouldn't be surprised if it was quite a few.
And a lot of the comments that say people will use that, right?
Yeah.
Which is really good.
Yeah, and the exact use case that I heard previously was that this community member was a game editor or a game programmer. And so there's a lot of I don't know the words, geometry and whatnot in designing the game, and so there's a lot of things that kind of repeating, and so just build a poop 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 and then add a 0 or something. Yeah. So another one of the features that I want to show off is the new find. So if I come down here to here's my word wrap example. I got the obligatory lorem ipsum. So I think this is Latin for VS for Mac is the best IDE. I don't know Latin. That's what I think it is. So let's go down here to some of these fun areas down here. So first I want to bring out, we have RTL support now. So here is a poem by Rumi. So it's in Persian. It's called The Guest House. So right now we have, English language right here. So a left to right language, and then we immediately go into a right to left language. And if you start typing, it changes context immediately. So if I go reverse, 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 and then I, hop back in here, my arrows are in reverse because, of course, I'm going right to left. So this is something that I think that was a top request on developer community was support for right to left languages. And we definitely want to make sure that no matter what language you speak or what language you type, that you have support for that. And it also includes everybody's, one of the newest languages in the world, but emoji. So we now have support. Oh gosh, I forgot how to bring up the emoji computer or emoji keyboard. Oh no!
I only know it in Windows. It's Windows key dot.
Come
so
on,
maybe
community.
command.
I'm looking for the comments. How do you get the emoji keyboard up?
Help us, people.
Oh man,
viewers.
Live TV.
All right, let's try to search for you, Cody.
Yeah, I think it's Uni's gonna have my back. So while Uni is thinking or looking for that,
it's Command Control Spacebar. Try that.
Command Control Spacebar. It's the one I didn't try. There you go.
Nice.
So now we have some, because that was kind of awkward. And we have the sweaty, nervous guy, and the mind blown of how amazing that is. There we go. Excellent. So we have those two. So we have full emoji support. So if you need to put emojis in your comments, that's on you, but you can do it now. And yeah, so let's hop on down to some of this search stuff. So find is something that you use a lot because you lose things, you got to find them again. And it's one of the areas that again we had some feedback on. It's kind of slow, kind of clunky. So we want to make sure that find is a great experience. So we have a whole new process of find that uses kind of the that taps into the Visual Studio core that we have again. So let's do Command F. Here we have the find result. So let's just say roomy, and then highlights. Let's say improved. So we have really fast auto highlighting. We have matching of strange characters. Let's do HELLO in that weird way. There we go. And let's do normal hello, and okay, it matches it. But let's say we want case sensitivity. Now it doesn't match it, and it takes us up there. So the new find is super fast. If we want to go through, go through all the next ones. We also have replace. So let's change hello to hey. There we go. Now we got those. So find is one of those things that it's not a super flashy feature. You guys are probably oh, good job, Cody. You found some code. But it's one of those ones that you use it throughout the day, and if it's slow or if it's clunky, it just totally messes up your flow. So being able to have a quick performant find that has all these options like the case sensitivity and whatnot is super important to me, at least. So that's one of those good things there. Yeah, so let's head on down to a few more of these. There's one that I really like, and that's the convert to link. I tweeted about it, and it's one of the best things ever. So
was it one of the top ones? I might not remember.
Here's your multi-carat one.
Yeah.
Which is great.
That was my version.
I wanted everybody to know that the VS format. Yeah, no, it made it's different. It's not better. It's just different. So linked for here we go. So let's say for
oh, there we go. Oh, I see.
Yeah.
Okay. Oh, sorry. I was thinking of for each to link, which we had added after this one. Okay. Yeah, this is the one.
Let's use the search for each to. Let's just search for link. LINQ. Link to for each.
Found it. Yeah.
We're going for each to link. Here we go. Here it is.
Is
here
that
one
the one you were looking for? Okay.
Yeah, this is the one I was looking for. Yeah, perfect. So
we have both going either way, just so.
Yeah, which is good. So if you click in here in the for each, you click on your little light bulb, and you can say convert to link, and there you go. Because for some reason for each syntax I understand, but for link I always forget. So now I got that, super
I think
simple.
that's pretty common, but it doesn't mean people don't still really want it in their code.
Yeah, exactly. And so then you can also, you can switch it back when you need to as well. But yeah, so that's one of those cool features. Yes, so much emotes. You're right. Yeah. So let's see. What else does anybody want to see in this new IDE, the new editor?
I'm trying to think of questions I have. I really like that you have not camel case searching, but what do they call that? Case sensitive.
Case sensitivity.
Search. Yeah. I
I
have a guilty admission. I know most things I could do in with the Notepad++ replace or whatever I can do in Visual Studio, but I just got so used to Notepad++ that I still occasionally use it just to reformat things. And I just don't want to learn new UI, but it's great that we do have it in there. So the next generation won't be broken like us when.
Yeah.
So Cody, can you talk a little bit about our roadmap in terms of, I mean, Kendra mentioned that we are releasing Visual Studio 2019 for Windows and Mac on April 2nd.
Yes.
And this editor is still a preview. So, I mean, it looks pretty good, but clearly it's a preview. And why is the case, and what's on our roadmap?
Yeah, so so it is still a preview, and I think that since since editing is such a core element of what you do in an IDE, we don't want to make this your default until we're really, really confident that it's going to be the best editing experience that we can give. So we're going to take it slow as opposed to just rushing it out there, because we really want this to be something that you can count on. And so in the 2019 release, it will be still opt-in. So you can opt into it in the same way that I did in this video, which is going to Visual Studio, see if I can remember, Preferences, General, Text Editor, and opt-in. And that's going to be the case for the 2019 release. Around the following version, the .1, so to speak, which would be 8.1 in Visual Studio for Mac versioning, we hope to have it as the default for C# files. And we're trying to make sure that XAML can be in there as well, because we know that's a super important ask, and we want to be able to demonstrate that and provide that for you. So
by the way, just to add to the XAML point, it's not the XAML problem is not just porting the editor to the new editor. We also want to bring the language service over from Visual Studio. So in Visual Studio 15.6 or something like that, we did a lot of work to move the WPF and UWP IntelliSense to Xamarin Forms, and the feedback was fantastic. Now we're going to take that and bring that to the Mac as well. So we feel like with these two, the XAML editing experience for Xamarin Forms should be fantastic on the Mac. All right, keep going.
Yeah, so and we do want it to with those language services too, and then as the dot features or dot versions come out there, we're going to be adding more. So I think the 8.1 feature set is where it's going to be default, or the version is going to be default with the C# and hopefully XAML. So that's when you're going to start seeing this as your main editor. But I do want we do listen to this feedback, and we would love everybody to try this out and send us your feedback. But there's a few more features, a few more tricks we have up our sleeve that aren't just editor related. Since the editor is cool, but another one this is a funny story too, that one of our developers was so tired of having to use the command line that he implemented this himself, which is to right click on the icon and say new instance.
Oh yes.
And you get a brand new instance.
Yeah.
And
he was telling me about that the other day.
You want 3 instances? You can have 3 instances.
Yeah.
What if you want 4? Look at all those. Now you can edit 4 projects at once. So the idea here is that you used to have to go into the command line and say open, and then some kind of command I can't forget or can't remember, and then you could have the multiple instances. But now it's just built into the IDE. So that's a huge thing that people are really excited about.
Yay!
So there are a couple questions, Cody, that we should probably take as well. One of them is, do all the VS extensions work on Visual Studio for Mac? And the answer, unfortunately, is no at this point. Our goal is to share more and more of the Visual Studio code, so we want to get there eventually. But at this point, the extension ecosystem between Visual Studio for Mac and VS Windows is different. We do have a few extensions for Visual Studio for Mac, and of course, we're working with the authors to make sure they all continue to work with the new editor as well. Long term, we definitely want to think about a shared ecosystem across these IDEs. So that's one question.
Yeah, and I mean, I think some extensions might just be built in. Like, how is our Git support story in VS for Mac?
Git?
Yeah.
So we've done a lot of work. So first of all, it was problematic till about 6 months ago.
But now?
Yeah, so the last 6 months we've been doing a lot of work to get the foundations of Git up and running again.
Okay.
And so we feel like in VS 2019, we'll have a very solid code. The user experience still hasn't changed much, and that's the next big rock for us to move. So we'll see us do a lot of work over the next 6 months to really optimize the inner loop as we speak. But the foundations of check-in and check-out are now reliable and solid for us to build on top of. So we've spent a lot of time and energy on Git this release.
I assume just some top functionality is probably built in, or
yeah, I mean, you can do a lot of these things. It's just that, for example, one of the main feedback that we hear from customers is the whole experience of diffing files is so much better on Windows. Yeah, so much better on. So that is not great on the Mac, and that's something that we want to do better at. So the editor, of course, is the foundational piece for that, and now we want to build the diff experience on top. So it's those experiences where, you know, you could argue that we can limp by, but we don't feel proud about, and so we do need to go work on
The wonderful part is that, like, since you're already using the Roslyn editor, you can use editor features inside UniDiff normally. So once you do set that up, since you're already using some of our editor functionality, that'll also be available.
I mean, and all these other capabilities, CodeLens and IntelliCode, all these things can be built on top much more easily now. Think about the old world where we'd have to re-implement all that, you know, and then that just gets messy, you know. So this really is the foundation for us, so to speak.
One of the demonstrations of that is that, so you guys are familiar with the MEF, the it's Managed Extension Framework. Somebody's going to correct me because I'm completely wrong on that. But it is basically the extension framework to extensibility framework. I'm waiting for somebody to say you're wrong, Cody. But it's basically the way, you know, you tap into Visual Studio, and that is the same way that we are building this editor. So this editor is using the MEF, you know, framework to say ATM machine with the extra, you know. Anyway, it's it is the same way that we're doing that. So it's demonstrative of the ability for us to connect with the inner workings of VS Core through MEF, and the editor is that demonstration. So that's, you know, it's a huge, you know, proof of concept, I would say. So I think that, you know, though the extensions aren't, you know, you can't just like install a Visix or something right now, but the foundational pieces are there, and we're working towards having you know, making sure that we can, you know, where it makes sense, bring some of those over.
And then there is another question about Blend on Visual Studio for Mac. I mean, the way I think about Blend is it's our tool for building amazing Windows applications, WPF, UWP. And so Windows is the natural home for Blend for now, at least. You know, so we don't really have any plans to bring Blend to the Mac. You know, Windows apps are best built on Windows, and you know, we have a great story there. So that's the answer to that.
Gotcha.
What is the maximum number of instances you can have?
I'm trying.
It's like Cody's testing that out.
I mean, in some ways, you are creating separate copies of Visual Studio for Mac, right? So, you know, you have to be.
I wonder what the limit is on VS Code. I don't want to try though.
Let's check Activity Monitor here. Let's see what we got on Activity Monitor.
Yeah, so that's an open-ended question. I'm guessing 3, maybe. James, are you happy with 3?
No. James wants 18, I think.
All right.
So James. All right. So yeah. So
not
I mean,
too many, not too few. 18.
No, this is great. This 15, is nice. This is a good task. Like, you know, your boss will walk by and be like, "You're working hard." You have, you know. One of the things I want to point out too is that, you know, this is kind of a cool aspect. Is one of the things we heard from community members was that sometimes it takes a long time for IntelliSense to boot up, so to speak. So that, you know, you open a new project and you don't have IntelliSense for the first, like, you know, minute or two as it's trying to read through all the types. Where we've been working on optimizing that. And so now when you open a new project or open a large project, the code windows that are open will get IntelliSense first. And so you can quickly get into your code and start working while the rest of the project is typed and read through by the MS Build and whatnot. And then as it's fully done, it switches out that workspace, so to speak, so that you now have IntelliSense throughout the whole file, or the whole project. So the result of this is that if you open a large project, you should get IntelliSense, you know, right away on the files that open and quicker on the other files. And this was necessitated by the fact that we actually used VS for Mac to build the new editor. So we are working, so, you know, and that's VS for Mac is a huge solution. So one of our developers are like, well, we got to find a solution for this. So through dogfooding, through using our own code and using our own project, we're able to find a problem, identify it, and then fix it so that, you know, everybody can benefit from it. So it has been kind of fun having our engineers use what they're working on to build it. They've, you know, I think that it really shows off some of the day-to-day work that you can get. So that's a fun
dogfooding is the way to go.
Yeah.
How portable is VS? Well, go ahead.
Oh no, it's like, could you do any other demos?
No, I think you know, if you guys want to see anything, let me know. But like I said, it's, you know, IntelliSense is pretty quick. Again, some of these performance ones can get, you know, kind of, you know, difficult in the world of live streaming. So, but it is, one of those things that the more you try it, you will be able to see these, these massive benefits. And it's still working, even though I have like 37 copies open.
Yeah.
So.
Right. So
one thing I wanted to just call out was there's slightly faded text, which is something we added to warn you that, hey, this isn't being used. So we have it on unused parameters, unused members. So you're getting that in that like wrap, indent, align parameter list. That's why the A, B, C, D, all of those are actually slightly grayer than the other text, and they have dots under them as suggestions to remove them, I believe.
See, I mean, that's the beauty. Like you design the experience,
yeah.
and we just lights up on the Mac, so that's really...
The very last one that you see there, the suppress IDE 60, I believe that's the saying this isn't actually used.
Okay, cool. Yeah. So, yeah, and so, look at that.
Yeah, so remove unused parameter, okay.
Yeah.
Maybe we could change the text to be a little bit more descriptive because no one has that sort of, I recognize IDE 0060. No.
Yeah, well, isn't there, I think there's a site that has all those,
yeah, we do have that in
yeah.
our references. So if someone Googled that because they were interested, they would definitely come up with remove unused parameters, but yeah.
We don't want to make it.
It's just cool that this is such recent stuff that we've added. It's very hot off the presses, and it's just cool that it immediately lit up in VS for
basically,
Mac. Yeah.
Yeah, we were, and Uni can speak to this, but back when we were talking about this, we were planning this, working through this, and it wasn't something we could demonstrate yet. It was all, the engineers are working on. He'd be like, Cody, how many quick actions are we going to get? How are we going to implement these? It's Uni, trust me, it's just going to work. And I wasn't sure it was going to, but I thought it was going to. So I was like, no, Uni, don't worry. It's just going to work. It's just going to work. And then finally, I talked to Kendra a few weeks ago or months ago. Which is, yeah. And I was like, oh, this is amazing. And I went straight to Uni. I was like, yeah. So the fact that these are just you say, we just bump Roslyn, basically. We grabbed the latest version of Roslyn from when we build it, and we just get all these for free. I mean, there's a few that there's still some delta between it. For example, things that require a dialogue to come up. So I think one of them was
pull up members.
Pull up members, yeah. So we kind of have that, but it doesn't have the full dialogue. So if we go to pull up members, we can click here. We can say, where do I put it? Okay.
I have to click inside of the name. Oh.
Then.
You have pull member up.
Yeah. So this one works.
Oh, that's right, because the simple one. Okay, sorry. So the dialogue is only if you're pulling multiple members up, and we still have the single one. Okay, so that's just a quick fix that was automatically there, and you didn't need to implement the VS for Mac version of our dialogue.
Right, exactly. But it's one of the things that we're going to listen to community feedback on it. If you find one that you're familiar with on Windows that you think is super beneficial, let us know, and we'll do our best to implement that.
Yeah, this was a really popular ask. Just being able to pull members up from a class where they're implemented into the interface that it's implementing. It's really cool that it's automatically there.
Yeah, no, it's pretty fun.
Yeah.
So yeah, I think I'm looking at the questions here. It looks like we have a question saying, how portable is VS for Mac? Is it self-contained? Well, in a way it is. So the way that applications work on Mac OS, we have the .app package, which is basically a folder, and it has all the different things in there. So you could take the .app and move it to a different computer and open it, but it's not. There's other components you need. You need mono. You need if you're going to do Xamarin development, you need the Xamarin extensions. So it's not portable in the sense of you can just drag it to whatever computer, because there are these dependencies that need to be installed as well, and including .NET Core and all those different dependencies. And those are all included in our installer, so you don't have to worry about going to grab them yourselves. But it isn't portable in that sense.
Yeah. I did have a question. So we recently introduced new Roslyn colorization classifications.
Mm-hmm.
And so for user members and types and local parameters and stuff, they get slightly different colors than the just default black color that they used to get, as well as keywords, and you can customize a lot of those. Do you know what levels of that might be lighting up in VS for Mac?
Yeah, so all the text classification is being brought over as well, and that I think our plan for having the full, the same text classification engine between the two IDEs is around the stable release of 8.1 when we're going to have the editor as default. So that I think at that point, we still we may have to do some theming and whatnot to ensure that we have those defined, but the classifications and the ability to hook into those should be in the 8.1 timeframe.
Okay, yeah. So it's all there. Okay.
Yeah. So cool. It will all be there. Just a matter of plugging the wires in, so to speak.
Yeah, we definitely erred on the side of customizability. So like it's fine if that doesn't all immediately there. That's really cool. God, it throws me off that the comments aren't green though.
I know we can do.
Sorry, I spend way too much time on Windows.
No, actually, let's do this. Let's make you feel comfortable.
Oh, thank you. Oh my
there
gosh.
We go.
Oh my gosh. Now I know what's going on.
Yeah.
Before I was like, I don't know what's happening. Okay.
and so you can do all these customizations and stuff too. So it's pretty great.
Yeah, that's great.
Yeah. So I think since we're wrapping up, it's important to go back to where Cody started, which is this is really informed by the feedback that we got from our community, and it's really important that we continue that conversation. So we're looking forward to that, and please do send us try it out and send us feedback. There is a roadmap for Visual Studio for Mac. I mean, you're probably familiar with the Visual Studio roadmap. So, we'll probably, I don't know if you want to
I'll pull it up.
A link or something like that. But anyway, we will keep that up to date with all the things that Cody talked about as our plans evolve. We really hope to convert some of those roadmap items into things that people can experience in the near term.
Nice.
And so, today we focused on the editor, but we are also making improvements to our three main customer scenarios, I guess, Unity games using Unity, Xamarin, and ASP.NET Core.
Yeah.
So there are a whole bunch of capabilities that we're adding to that as well, for those as well. And so the roadmap is a good place for us to engage with the community and trying to get feedback on whether these are the right things to do, and of course develop a community like you referred to. So really looking forward to your feedback as we evolve the product.
Yeah, and there's I'll go back to my screen. There's the developer community link for suggestions or just staying up on maybe what bugs already exist. If you're running into anything, you can upvote it, and feature suggestions, you can upvote them if you care about seeing that in the product.
And we do come through this like every day. So I read through these
every day.
I do every day, yeah.
I do suggestions like once a week and just try to batch them and get through them. Okay, I am impressed.
I'm really looking for editor stuff right now. So So, but maybe every other day. That's
And then all those calls that people agree to do with us, they are such a huge help for us too. So thank you for when we send you this annoying email to say, hey, would you like to talk to us? Thank you for signing up, and that feedback is really valuable for us in terms of...
So people can actually schedule a meeting with you guys to just give face-to-face basically feedback.
I mean, observing someone use the product, there is no substitute to that, right? There's only so much you can articulate in words, but just sharing your screen and seeing what's going on is hugely valuable, I think.
Very cool.
And for examples of that, like I said, multi-carat editing and word wrap were both features that came in through me and the customer talking on a call. So, it does, mostly when we're in this stage of adding these features, it does really, get to the product quickly. So it's a great way to prioritize your features and stuff. So, if you have anything, just let us know, and I'd love to set up a chat with you and see it.
That's cool. How do they let us know? Is that if they're not getting an email or?
If not, you can either hit me up on Twitter
nice.
at CL_buyer. You can, I think there's an AKA-MS link for me. So it's aka.ms/talk-2-Cody.
aka.ms/talk-2-Cody.
Yeah, and that will take you to TO. Sorry.
TO. Oh,
yeah.
Got it.
I'm not cool enough to use that.
Talk2Cody. That's so cool. Okay. It opens your Calendly. That's super cool.
So you can. You can find me there. There's a bunch of different ways. You also reach out to, we have other team members on Twitter. Uni's on Twitter. Everybody's on Twitter. So.
It's nice to be.
And also if you take the in-product survey and leave your email address, we can get in touch with you there too. So.
Yeah, I've reached out to people there, but I don't have my own Calendly link. What? That's
you
so
should do
cool.
it. It's great.
Okay. Write it as 2 then 2. Oh, okay. Yeah. Cool. So Cody, Uni, thank you so much for coming on the show. This was super fun.
Thank you so much.
I am so impressed, and I have like more ideas for maybe how we should change my workflow, and dig into more like VS for Mac UI goodness. We're super excited to see like main launches come out on the Visual Studio launch day. I'm sure there's a Visual Studio for Mac session.
Absolutely. Michaela has a session on Visual Studio for Mac.
Right.
And yeah, more than important, it's really important that we get that feedback. And so try out VS 2019, download it, kick its tires, and send us feedback.
Awesome.
Yeah.
So look for that. Well, thanks everyone for tuning in.
Thank you. That was great.
Sign off. All right. If I can work this thing, let's see.
Let's see. Have a good day, everybody.
Everyone.
Bye.
The end stream circle is like 80% complete.
What's the
It seems like it.
Can you switch to the online tab?
It's behind a little bit, but YouTube, both of them are
Did
on
it
the.
end?
Yeah, I don't know if people can hear us right now.
It's like halfway complete.
Yeah.
Let me